What's happening, everybody? Sorry I'm late. I was getting ready, about to go head out after this to go pick up some equipment, to pick up some furniture. We just moved into a new house, as you can see. This is it, baby. Got out of the old moldy apartment that we were in and into a beautiful ass house. So, ready to dive in today with y'all. I got a great presentation for you. Excited to share. It's to do with purpose and the purpose as to why we are here as men. For so long, so many years, over the past few centuries, our society has begun to degrade the masculine energy, has degraded both the masculine and feminine energy in our society, which has created an imbalance. And as men, we become highly feminized, whereas women have become highly masculinized. And it's created a a gap to where we want to be, to where we need to be in order to restore balance within the entire world, within the collective. And there's a shift happening that is calling us to step into that. As men, it is our job, our duty to step up, to fulfill our purpose and our destiny for the reason for being here. So let's go ahead and dive in. Go ahead and share my screen. Let me get my Google Doc pulled up here. Right. I have some children running through here in a little bit. Just a heads up. So, today's Fire Code Friday talk is about purpose, as I'd already discussed. And a quote that I like by David Data, and actually a lot of this talk is based off of David Data's work, because the way the superior man really highlights the key aspects of what it means and what is required in order for us to step into our divine masculine energies. And his book, The Way of the Superior Man, dives into that in a way that I've never seen in any other book. It's one of, if not the most transformational books that I've ever read. This quote here: "The mission or the search for freedom is the priority of the masculine, whereas the search for love is the priority of the feminine." I like this. I found this online. It's a feminine and masculine energies, the way that I just like the representation because, men are generally uh, it's like we have an opposite energy. We have a polarity between us as men and women, and that causes us to be magnetized to each other. That causes us to bring out aspects of other people, even not even just our lover, but everyone around us. We all have feminine and masculine energy within us. But what is important is that we align ourselves to our own core purpose so that we can rebalance our own internal energies and extend that out to the world around us. Also, I wanted to go ahead and share this as well. So I touched on this last week, but this is I'm basically creating a map of how divine masculinity is connected to all of these aspects that I talk about: the rites of passage, the archetypes, the shamanism, the secret codexes. All these tie in a certain way. And purpose is one of the things that unites them all as well, because purpose is what caused, it was really the reason behind everything. So, even like shamanism, which I want to expand on this more later, but I talked about this last week as well. A lot of a big aspect of shamanism has to do with soul loss, because soul loss is what happens when we experience trauma. When we go through traumatic experiences throughout our life, which often happens, it's going to fragment our soul. And the role of the shaman is to retrieve those lost aspects of ourselves. Man, that light is super bright. Window is closed, so I have to get a curtain for that. It looks like the blinds are open. It's just bugging me. See if I can move myself and cover it up. There, better. It's the process of moving stuff around, so it's a little messy, but how moving goes, it's always a process. So back to this chart here. Purpose unites all these things because without purpose, we will not have the drive to push beyond, to step into the realm of something new. We would always want to remain in our comfort zone because let's face the facts. We all like to be comfortable. We all like to have a sense of stability. We all like to just feel at ease in our lives, in our relationships, in our jobs. We want to have that sense of security. But the catch 22 is that by doing so, we enable ourselves to, or rather, we limit ourselves to what is possible for us because it doesn't allow us to really step into the realm of the unknown, to step outside of ourselves and to break that mold that has created the version of ourselves now by stepping into our purpose and understanding our why. It allows us to connect each of these points because the sole reason behind them is driven by a purpose higher than ourselves. And let me go ahead and click back over here. All right. So I've been tying to divine masculinity since the group is about initiating ourselves into the divine masculine energy. It's always key to connect the dots and how that ties into everything else. So divine masculinity is really the purpose behind divine masculinity, at least as a man, especially as a man, is to seek beyond the realm of the ordinary and become extraordinary. By doing so, it allows us to reach to the depths of our core. And the core is at the heart of who we truly are and what drives us. Without that core driving aspect, we're going to always fall short. We're going to always look for a way out. We're going to always take the easy way. But when we know who we are, we don't have any other option. This enables us to rise up as leaders, to be the foundational pillar, not only for ourselves and our family, but for the society as a whole. By doing this, it brings light to others who are struggling to find their own purpose. It shines the light on the darkness so others can see the path that they need to take. That is our role as divine masculine men, to step up, to embody that fire within us, to become that fire. I like this image because it portrays a man out in the wilderness, finding his way, lighting up the darkness with his own light, and paving the path in front of him. Divine masculine man knows that it's not just about us, but about others. And everything that we do isn't just going to impact us, it's going to impact everyone around us in some way. Being able to show up for others in our fullest capacity is necessary if we wish to truly align to this divine masculine energy and create the ripple that will forever change how we live and get back to that essence of what it means to be a divine masculine man. And by doing so, it gives others the permission to step into that in their own lives so that we can begin to mold the society around these ideals and principles. Because the world today is in shambles. Everyone is so confused. There's so much controversy and just so much confusion happening and stimulation. It's like we're constantly being bombarded with these ads and these just it's not the way that it used to be when we were a tribe. When we didn't have the internet, it was so much simpler. Especially as men, we just had to essentially we had to protect our family and our village. We had to go out, hunt, forage, chop wood, carry wood, build the fires. But now things have changed. And we have to adapt with those changes if we wish to survive. Not only survive, but to thrive. As I've talked about, the purpose is really what entails the purpose. The biggest aspect of the purpose is what drives you. What is pushing you to take that next step? Is it for fame and money? Or is it to embark upon something new, to to be that leader, to pave the way for others, and to be that pillar that others need? Amen. Yeah, next time I'll do this in another room. Should have did this in the living room, but okay, so your purpose is something that's always going to light that fire within you. I will do this no matter what it takes. And when you know your why, it won't allow you to give up, no matter how hard it gets, no matter what obstacles and challenges come your way, you'll push through that. You begin to step up as a man and as a leader. And this has been a challenge in my own life because for so long I wanted to find other people that would give me the answers. I didn't want to step into that myself because I was afraid. I wasn't ready to step into the responsibility of what it took to hold down that, or to rather to hold the light for others, to be that pillar for others to stand on. Because I didn't know how to stand on that in my own life. And there's a beautiful story that I read the other day. I actually shared it on Facebook. Is that there's a homeless man that was someone gave him food. You know, he's in the fast food restaurant. They gave him food, and they asked him why you're homeless, and he said that he basically used the analogy of when you're building a house, you want to build your own house first because while in the process of building your house, if you're constantly giving out bricks to other people, and eventually you're not going to have a house for yourself. And those same people that you gave those bricks to are going to basically have the house that you are building for yourself. So it's important for us to focus on ourselves first, to build ourselves up so that we can give back to others. Or else we're constantly going to be in lack. We're constantly going to be seeking outside of ourselves. We won't really have that core foundational strength within us. I like this quote: find your purpose, define it, and make it the core of what drives you. Once you know what you're fighting for, nothing will stop you. Once you have a vision that aligns to that core, it will light you up in a way that nothing ever has. So these are some feminine and masculine qualities that I thought did a really good job of describing what it means to embody these different energies within us. And as I said, a lot of this comes from David Data's book, The Way of the Superior Man, because it really encompasses, like, it just really ties all of these different aspects together in a way that nothing that I've ever read has dived as deep as this has, and like really penetrated to my core. Because there's been so many moments in my life where I've had to return back to these points, these principles. It's helped to remind me why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so the purpose of the masculine is the search for freedom. So, and this involves like mission, competition, putting it all on the line. This is why so many men love sports, because if he doesn't have the balls to do it himself, then he'll watch it on TV. This comes in the form of sporting events, cop shows, or my personal favorite, anime, because you get to see somebody else embody the energy that you, as a man, wish to embody. And it really speaks to the core of, of, of what is important to you, of what drives you. You know, these shows, these sporting events, it really touches that aspect, that masculine essence. So it's like the masculine purpose or mission is the search for freedom. The feminine purpose is the search for love. That's what touches to the core. That's why so many women love soap operas and dramas, because they get to feel so deeply into every aspect of their emotions. And, that's why men build the house and women make it a home. And I say men and women interchangeably because it's about the energies. It doesn't necessarily mean that it would have to be men or women, but it's the energies within us, the masculine and feminine energies. Let me go to the other room so y'all can. I'm gonna change rooms, y'all. No coffee for you, man. Good.
Yes, they need pumpkin.
Oh, geez, some fruit. Have chips later. 1 second, y'all. So it's a little bit messy here. Still getting everything moved. Like I said, we're gonna go pick up some furniture, so that's what we're about to do after I get off this call. And everybody's starting to wake up, so I was trying to finish this before everybody got up. On the floor table here. Oh man, that light is just awful. Yeah, curtain in here too. Let's move it over. All right, sorry about that. A little hard for me to focus. Okay, so men gravitate towards the search for freedom. They wish to break through to the other side, through these challenges, through stepping into that fire. That's what truly ignites them from the inside out and pushes them to embody something greater. Women are in search for love. Most women focus predominantly on building a family and wanting to basically make a home a home. It's like that's why they decorate. That's why they um, let me think of the right words. It's like, for us, it was really on me predominantly to like, pay for the home and everything, and to like provide the structure, the foundation for us to be able to move in. And once we moved in, she's the one that really makes it a home because she decorates and she has the understanding of what it means to align us with the life that we wish to live. And I remember talking to a friend of mine. He lived with like 6 women, and he said he could really see where like women were the glue because they have that sense about them of connection. They're able to bring together a community, whereas men are the seekers and they go out, they find other communities, they find other opportunities, but women solidify it and make it real. Like they're like the glue that brings everything together in that sense. Like on the cat, quit. That's chewing the string. These are just some qualities of the masculine and the feminine. The next one I want to touch on is live with an open heart, even if it hurts. So closing down in the midst of pain is the denial of a true man's nature. And this is from David Davis, a superior man, or what I believe he refers to as a divine masculine man, is free in feeling and action, no matter how bad it hurts. And this has been a struggle for me because my tendency is to shut down, is to avoid what I'm feeling. And as a result, it causes others around me to close up, especially with my woman when we were together several years back, because we had like a 2.5 year gap. I would be super avoidant, and I wasn't able to like open up into that energy. I wasn't able to open up into that pain and to not only share my pain and my experiences, my emotional burdens, but to open up and hold the space for her. So it caused a lot of conflict between us because we couldn't come to that ground. We couldn't come together in that sense because I was blocking it off. And even when she would try to get me to open up, it just felt like all I wanted to do was shut down. And so as I progressed over the years since then, I've really applied David Data's teachings in that way because it's when these moments come between us where I have the chance to either shut down or to step up and to embrace further. I've really pushed myself to not take it so personal, to not be so upset, and to not close down in the way that it did in the past. And it's honestly truly helped our relationship blossom in a way that it never had before. It was so, this is a practice that David Data has. Breathing up your back, holding, and then pushing that energy down the front of your body and looking directly into the eyes of whomever you are with, especially your partner. I've used this breathing practice in so many areas of my life, not just to connect with others, but when things would get hard, when I would just want to have deeper embodiment and be more present in that moment. I would I would focus on breathing up my spine, holding that energy at the crown of my head, and then breathing that down. When I breathe down, I clench my perineum in a way that it's similar to when you're peeing and you stop the stream of, of pee. It's that same muscle, the perineum. So when you tighten that muscle, it like pushes that energy down. And I focus that energy going into the core of my being. Breathing is something that is insanely powerful, and honestly something that I really need to have a better practice with because it's truly transformational. I really like this image because it's the light shining from his core. Once we are living from that core place, it gives us the energy to move forward no matter what it takes. As I spoke about earlier, this is why men love sports because they're always seeking that release from constraint. These challenges and obstacles are a means to something greater. Once we break through those challenges and obstacles, it's like a light shining forward that shows us new aspects of ourselves. It opens the door for new opportunities and reveals something about ourselves that we didn't see before. And this is true in essentially every sport, but especially football. I like because it's you have a physical, like you have a literal wall of people that you have to get through and push through in order to score a touchdown. I don't really watch much sports anymore, but when I was in high school, I was really big into football, and I played football, of course. I was a guard and a defensive end. And in the game of football, you're always seeking freedom in the form of points. Right? So you're seeking freedom by breaking through the wall of defenders and scoring a touchdown. But but you have to build yourself up along the way. And yeah, hold on. So many obstacles to this call. Sorry for the disruptions. As I said, we're still getting settled in, so it's a little hectic. But anyway, so football is a really good analogy for life because in order to get to the touchdowns, you have to first achieve the first downs and you continuously progress towards that. You have to push through the obstacles of defenders in order to break through to get those first downs. The first downs are like those steps that we have to take in order to achieve our goals, in order to achieve our highest purpose. And occasionally you can break free, you can break a 20-yard, 30-yard, 100-yard touchdown run, maybe you return a kickoff or something. It doesn't happen very often, but even in life, sometimes you have those breaks where you post a video or you have something go viral that completely changes everything for you. But these are fleeting moments along the journey that is ultimately leading you back to that core of who you are. These fleeting moments are to help you to to see that progress so that you can continue to move forward. But life is continuously challenging you and pushing you to the depths, to to your limits. And one of the points I forgot to add here by David Data is to know your edge and to push just beyond it. Because if you know where your edge is, then you're able to step outside of that, to push through so that you can break out of your comfort zone and into the realm of your new self, to break out of that mold that you've created for yourself, out of these limiting beliefs. It's imperative that you do this. Otherwise, you're going to remain stuck. You're going to remain in this perpetual cycle, continuing to repeat the same things and never able to truly step outside of yourself. When I say step outside of yourself, I mean the identity that you've created for who you see yourself as. We have to break out of that if we wish to pursue and live our highest purpose. Stop hoping for completion of anything in life. This is another aspect that I really struggled with because I felt like I remember being a kid and thinking that by the time I'm 30 years old, I'm gonna have it all figured out. I'm gonna be a millionaire and I'm just gonna have it all together. And it's almost like I had this thought in my mind that like even though I didn't have the answers and I didn't know exactly how it would look, it was like I was trusting my future self to have it all figured out. But it felt like it was an external like an external, like I was giving my power away, not even to myself, but it was like the thought of me having to step into that myself was way too overwhelming. So I would just envision of the future self already stepped into that. But in order to get to that point, we have to go through the journey itself. We have to break through these challenges and obstacles, or else we're never going to get there. And when I first began my coaching back in, I mean, technically it was back in 2014 is when I started the coaching process, the coaching journey. That's when I got my first coach, a marketing coach. He was helping me to create my brand and to make products, to make sales pages. And that was a huge breakthrough for me in many ways, but I still wasn't able to get to that point where I was able to be successful. And that was a stage along my journey that I had to build towards, that I had to work through. But there was like a part of me that wanted to depend on the coach to be able to for me to be successful, where I didn't believe enough in myself to actually make it happen. So I would rely on other people and have the hopes that they would have the answers, that they would be able to complete the puzzle for me. And a lot of this wasn't even conscious, it was unconscious. And as I got here, it's a lot of times a lack of discipline. And even now, that's I'm still really sharpening that blade to have a better structure for my own life, to have more discipline, to have more focus so that I can get more stuff done, so that I can step more into that version of myself that I know that I can be. The version of myself that I have always wanted to be, but didn't have the courage to truly embody. And a simple practice is to to spend just an hour a day, doing what you love. It could be one thing, it could be many things. Just make sure it's something that truly fills your heart with just it really fills you up with joy and happiness. It makes you want to come back to this. It's like something that you want to wake up and start doing. Something that just lights you up, sparks that flame within you to bring you back to the core of yourself. Make sure that your purpose comes before your relationship. And this is a quote by David Data. Every man knows that his highest purpose in life cannot be reduced to any particular relationship. If a man prioritizes his relationship over his highest purpose, he weakens himself, deserves the universe, and cheats his woman of an authentic man who can offer her full, undivided presence. This is something that I personally dealt with my partner now because we had a period where it was like a 2.5 gap where we weren't together. And the first 6 months that we were together, I felt this feeling inside of me that something that I needed to do something first before I could fully show up in the relationship. And I kept feeling this nagging feeling that I had to go somewhere by myself or else it's never going to work. And especially the first 2, 3 weeks, it was just like this nagging feeling in my head, in the back of my head, constantly telling me. And it's like, no matter how hard I tried to deny it, I knew that it was true. And we split up, had a separation, and we would still date on and off. Long distance, though, it wasn't like we weren't physically together. And during that time, I had a download come that I needed to go to Egypt. For years, even before I met her, I knew that I had to go somewhere. I had to make a trip, but I had no idea where or why or when it would happen. I just knew that I had to go somewhere to take that next step in my journey, not just as a man, but my reason for being here. I knew that it would ignite something within me that would pave the way for me to begin the path of my highest purpose. I was, it's like I was waiting on this moment, but until I met her, I didn't feel like I gave myself permission to step into that. And I was constantly, it's like I was doing personal development, but it was very shallow. Like looking back now, it almost, it's like I was a different person because I couldn't see the shadows that was holding me back. I couldn't see my own limiting beliefs that was keeping me from taking that next step. Once I got with her, it like really brought all of those to the surface. And I could see how I wasn't wanting to accept responsibility. I wasn't wanting to step up, and I wasn't wanting to be accountable. I could see the areas of my life where I was still running, where I was still a boy. I hadn't yet made that transition from boyhood to manhood. It was it was a truly defining moment for me because up until that point, it was like no one had told me and showed me and reflected back to me those aspects of myself that was keeping me hindered, that was keeping me stuck. Sometimes we need to meet people in our lives to help bring that out of us. But in this situation, once I got the download to go to Egypt, embarked upon that journey, I spent a year preparing for it. I joined a coaching program with Victor Otto and Aaron Dowdy and Matt Schaefer. I joined this coaching program after I got like it literally the opportunity came right after I got the download to go to Egypt. I knew that this is what I needed to do. I knew that by going to Egypt, it would give me the ability to bring back the medicine so that I could share with others and help them to find their own way. I knew that this was that that download I had gotten. I knew this was that nagging feeling that I had at the beginning of the relationship as to why I couldn't open up fully, why I couldn't dive fully in and give myself fully. And if you do not embark upon your highest purpose, you don't make that your highest priority, then your woman is going to lose respect for you. She might not admit it or even know it, but she'll feel it. She'll feel it in the core of who you are and who you show up as a man, as a lover, as a father. You won't be able to show up fully, not just for yourself, but for anyone in your life if you don't embark upon your highest purpose and make that your biggest priority. Once I came back from that journey, from that pilgrimage, things started to unravel and unfold in a way that I knew that it would. It was like everything began to fall into place. The puzzle pieces began to click and align. Everything just started to flow naturally. And ever since then, oh, here's a picture of me in Egypt. It was a truly transformational experience for me. because I had never done anything like that in my life. I had to face so many of my deepest fears, and I went on this quest alone. This was a pilgrimage of the soul. Yeah, I might have been going to another country, but it was more of an internal journey than an external one because it brought out aspects of me that if I hadn't stepped into, then I'd still be stuck in the old cycles that I was in. I wouldn't be here with you today on this talk. It's opened so many doors for me to see myself for who I truly am, beyond my limiting beliefs, beyond my old identities. It's helped me to align to my core purpose so that I could build a foundation for myself and for my family. How can I build a foundation for myself if I'm giving away all of my bricks? You know, how can I hold the fort? How can I be that pillar for my family if I'm not even able to be that for myself? Or something's bugging me. And that's where I was at. The the first time that we were in our relationship before we got back together after the 2.5 years, I felt like I was so weak. I couldn't stand in my own fire. I couldn't stand in what I believed in. I didn't have those core principles that I aligned to. And it was like I was wanting to, I was wanting to make excuses. I felt weak within myself. And I knew that I couldn't stand and hold that space for others until I could hold that space for myself. That's why I talk so much about pilgrimages because it activates something within you. It's not just about the journey itself, it's about what it brings out of you. It doesn't have to be a physical place that you go. I do recommend going to a physical place because of the different energies, the different culture, the different perspectives, the different sights, sounds. I mean, I'm a big believer in the ley lines and the energies that make up the world around us. You might have past life memories tied to these specific locations. I don't know. Everybody's different, but it could also be a coaching program. It could be a job. It could even be a relationship. My relationship with her really brought out those aspects of me. It's been a pilgrimage going through this with her because it's brought out aspects of me that I needed to embody within myself. But I didn't have the insight and the confidence to step into on my own. It was easier denying those aspects of myself and continue to repeat the same cycles than it was to truly step in and step up in the way that I knew that I needed to. To close the talk, because there's so much more that I could say about this. I had so many more points that I wanted to add, but I ran out of time and I gotta keep this somewhat short because like I said, we gotta head out of here, pick up a U-Haul, then we're gonna go pick up some furniture. So uh, excited to start to get our space together the way that we've wanted. Because the old place that we were living was just, like I said, had mold and it was just not good. It was definitely needed something new. So when you align to your core purpose, it requires you to align to your core values because the values are the pillars. They're the pillars that make up the foundation that will hold up your entire life. The beliefs that you have are built upon the values that you embody, the principles that carry you in your life. Without a strong sense of values, you're going to allow others to convince you of things that you don't truly believe. You're going to not be able to show up for yourself, let alone for others, because you're going to constantly be giving your energy away. You're constantly going to be giving away those bricks. When you have those core values in place, you have built a wall, a structure for yourself to hold yourself up, and you're strong enough to know what you truly believe in. And you hold that within the very essence of your being to the core of yourself. It lights you up, activates you, not just you, but everyone around you. The core values are what drive you. There's I want to share it later on, but something that my coach has taught me is the value ladder. And it's been a while since I've covered it, but you have basically, it's like it utilizes your values, your goals, your beliefs, and your vision in order to create the ladder for which you can climb. Oh, and your intentions as well. So you have like your intentions at the bottom. Then you have your, actually, it's before I dive into it, before I butcher it, I'm gonna wait because that's something that we can cover later on. But basically, it helps you to see how your goals, your values, and your intentions align to the greater vision for which you're driving towards. And your why is going to directly align with that vision. Because the vision, the way that I see it is the vision is your why manifested. Everything that you do should be backed up by your why. Everything that you do is going to be connected to your why because you have the ability to decide where you spend every minute of your day, every hour, every second. Even if you have to do like a job that you don't want to do, you could spend time during that job still working on your purpose, working on your dreams, working on your business, working on something that will help take you to the next level. Any free time that you get can be spent working towards that. If you truly want something bad enough, you will find a way to make it happen, no matter what it takes. You won't give excuses. You won't give reasons why it didn't work out. You will find reasons why it will work out. You will push through because your why is driving you. Your why has become more important than these excuses, than this bullshit that you've been telling yourself for so long. And for so many years, I felt like I I would just come up with so many excuses, and I got so tired of hearing that. That's when I remember it was actually RSD, uh, Real Social Dynamics, like one of the most popular in the social pickup community. That's what I began with. Well, so I had my marketing coach in 2014, and then in 2020, that's when I got my first coach through RSD. Basically, I was working a job, a 9 to 5, and I found out that they were in Chicago, which was about 6 hours away from me. I was in Louisville, Kentucky at the time, and spontaneously I decided to go to make that journey, that pilgrimage rather, to Chicago on a whim. It wasn't even planned. It was just like I found out that they were close by. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. This could be a life-changing opportunity for me. So I took it. And it definitely was. It opened up so many doors for me, so many insights, so many perspectives, and just gave me a foundation for what it means to be a coach, to see what a coaching program is supposed to look like, and to connect with other people. But not just that aspect, but by making the journey itself was life-changing. So I want to ask you again, what are your core values that will align to your why? Been a pleasure being on this journey with you, my friends. Continue to step into the fire of yourself, to step into the fire of these challenges and obstacles so that you can become your highest and best self. Peace, love, namaste.